Hi, welcome back to the Jump YouTube channel. I'm SCUFF, and I'm going to be doing a review of the new slide map that just released yesterday, Slide Voyage by Pyrosa. Pyrosa is a Phil member who's been in the game for a long time, and this map that he just released has some incredible things that I think are going to revolutionize Slide forever. So this map is, I would say, about a Phi or Omega difficulty. I don't exactly know, and I'm really washed, so it's hard to actually say. But it's around there. It's pretty difficult, and it introduces some new things like speed ramps and complex collisions, as you're going to see with the gameplay. And also jump pads, which has never really been used in this way, and also as like refined of a way as this map uses them. The map also has a very strong style, with each level looking completely unique and having pathing things, which I think every map should honestly have. So the main things I think this map is doing to revolutionize movement is the use of speed ramps and complex collisions and jump pads. So speed ramps are mainly avoided because they're pretty FPS based. But I think that the way that Pyrosa used them in this map is a lot more consistent. They're short ramps and they just give you a good amount of speed, and they aren't very steep. And then complex collisions and jump pads are used in conjunction and also separately to create these really cool wall bounces, things that send you downward, things that send you upward, and all sorts of different cool things that you can do with them that we had never really explored that much before until now. So that was the playthrough of the map. So I sort of wanted to run down this new concept that this map introduced to me, and I want to give it a name. So I'm going to call this a speed reset. So basically what this is, and if you ever played Surf before, you know what I'm talking about, where if you reach a part of the level where you get there and it doesn't matter how much speed you have when you get there, you'll be able to finish the level. And there's plenty of examples of this, like if you're playing a surf map and you're, going down a hole, or if you're playing a surf map and you reach the speed limit, then no matter how much speed you have when you reach that point, you're able to continue from that point, so you're not worried about units for the rest of the level. And that's something that this map does, and I've never seen this in slide maps before, and I don't think it's ever been used in slide maps before. And what I'm talking about is the use of these jump pads. I'll show examples from, there's a few different levels that do it, but specifically level 2 has a great example of it. You sort of jump into this little pocket and then you get flung out. Jumping into that pocket, you need a decent amount of speed for it. And if you're slacking on speed and you don't have enough, no matter how much speed you go into that with, you're always going to come out with the right amount of speed. So you're basically guaranteed a attempt to the finish of the level, and you're not unsure whether you're going to make it. Once you get to that point, it's all execution. It's not about what you did previously. And I think this is great because not only does it make the gameplay feel more sort of fulfilling, because you can have longer levels that don't feel like they're hinging on your speed for the whole thing. Like, what if you are playing Slide Potato, and think about the last level of Slide Potato. It's a really long level, and you could just not even have close to enough speed for the entire level, and then not know that you don't have enough speed until the very end. And that's something that would be almost completely eliminated by this concept. And then also, this would make making slide maps a lot easier because you can just start from that point. And that's the thing that we've struggled with in the past, is being able to beat your levels in a single segment is the only way to actually test them. And this is a issue I'm having with the current map I'm making. I'm trying to make the hardest map, but there's not really that many ways to test it because we don't have ways to like start from a certain point, like a save state system or anything. So it's hard to test things like this. But this sort of system where you're either jumping into a pocket, or like the example from level 3, you're jumping into a jump pad that's against a wall and you're flung backwards, from that point you're going to have enough speed to finish the level, and you're basically playing two separate segments in the sense of acceleration. So I think that this concept could be used to create maps to like new heights that we've never actually seen before in difficulty, and also just create refreshing gameplay that doesn't feel so sort of lethargic to play, where you're always worrying about your units rather than just your execution of the jumps. And for this section of the video, I'm just going to be going into some of the intricacies in the map detailing. I've got the map pulled up in the editor, and as you can see, it has 4,400 objects, so it's a pretty object-heavy map, but I think that the map uses the objects incredibly effectively. I'm going to be showing you some of the cool techniques that are used in this map, and some that I've only seen pretty recently used in maps and never in slide maps before. So this map does use a decent amount of custom assets, so like for example this lamp is a custom made texture that Pyrosa has put together themselves that they just put over top of a lighting source. There's plenty of things here that are actually completely original and I've never seen in slide maps before, and this because there's a lot of options with the cylinders. You can choose the sort of radius of them, and you can choose like the spin of them. So there's plenty of stuff where this has been used in the map, such as these circles, and also some stuff I'll show on the screen right now. So there's a lot of really creative uses of these that I'm really in love with. And also, I want to mention these chains that are not only custom assets, but they're also used in this sort of cool interlacing way where it's not actually a 3D model of chains, it's just two chains sort of overlapping each other in opposite directions. And when you're in game, it looks incredible. So I'm going to show you a clip right now of the usage of these complex collisions. And this is what the inner workings of that look like. So I've hidden the cylinders that are used as cosmetic, and I've shown the actual complex collisions that you're hitting when you're doing that curve. And there's 8 of them, and I've highlighted them in darker shades, each one, so you can see where they switch. So you'll be hitting this one and then curving around. And 8, I think, is a great number, especially for like as sharp of a curve as this, because you don't want to use too many of these, but you don't want to use too little or else you'll lose speed. Something I'm also appreciating about this map is the pathing, and I mentioned this at the start of the video, but things like this, these little just fireflies and these arrows, these fireflies are on every single platform, so the game it's just a very subtle nudge telling you where you can stand and where you can't stand. If thing's got fireflies on it, that's where you're supposed to go. If thing doesn't have fireflies on it, then maybe don't go there. And things like this as well, where you have this thing that looks stylistically awesome, and I feel like this is a thing that you should totally just copy, like it just looks cool. It's also just directly pointing you, telling you where to go. This arrow, maybe doesn't fit the theme of the map perfectly, but it feels so necessary for it to just be there and, giving you a direction of where to go. I'm really a fan of the way that Pyrosa used this magma texture in the map, and it's used frequently, like numerous different places. It's been used as ice, it's been used as like rare minerals, and also as coral in this underground area. And another thing I wanted to comment on about this map is that even though every single level looks different and finishes differently, all of the ending portals look exactly the same, so you know when you've hit the end of the level, and that's something that I feel like needs to be more common in stylistically very diverse maps. And also, I just really like the way that this looks. Like, I don't honestly know what's going on here. I don't know. It's just really cool though, because I feel like it's moving like inward, right? Yeah, it's cool. I love that. And before I end off the video, I just wanted to talk about a few of the shortcomings of this map, because all of this map is really great. It does have a few things that I think could be better about it, and most of those complaints are around gameplay and one level in specific. But, I mean, I'll say something generally. I think that the difficulty balancing of the map isn't perfect. I think that levels 3 and 4 are easier than levels 1 and 2, and I don't know if the level sequencing actually matters in terms of like how the gameplay goes. So like Pyrosa could probably just swap them around if people found it to be a little bit annoying. And then specifically this level, the sewer level, I'm just kind of not a fan of how this one plays, and this is the only level that I actually have like gameplay complaints about. Um, but I find that like this is a thing that I've had issues with in the past, where you give someone a big ramp or a big platform to land on right here, and then you force them to like use that ramp, but use it in a very specific way. So you're giving them this massive canvas, and then you're like, okay, well, you have to land in this very specific spot, which is fine in concept, but then when you're actually playing it for the first time, you have to spend a really long time figuring out what they actually want you to do with that space. And that makes the rest of the level play out really weird, because especially after this, the rest of the level is pretty much gated on how much speed you can keep from that ramp, and having that ramp be really awkward isn't, it doesn't really complement the rest of the level very much. But other than that, I have pretty much no complaints about the gameplay in this map. Just those two things. Alright, so that's all I have to say about Slide Voyage by Pyrosa. This is a great map. I recommend everyone go play it, even if it's a little bit too hard for your skill level. It's some great perspective on map making. And I'm planning on potentially making some of these videos in the future, just breaking down some new maps that are coming out and also some maps that have influenced the way that gameplay has been created in the past. I really wanted to do a video on Slide Industrial because I think that Slide Industrial is an important map in Krunker's history, but also it just has some really funny stories behind when Broke and I were creating it. Like one of the levels, how I drew the gameplay on my phone screen while I was in call with him in a hotel, and that level with the gameplay that I described to him is currently in the map. So yeah, if you enjoyed this style of video, make sure to drop a like on it, and we'll see you next time on the Jump YouTube channel. Goodbye.